Do you want most in the playoffs?
Oh, Damian Lillard, easily. Look, it seems like I'm piling on Steph with this stuff, but let's be honest, everybody. Steph won a championship, when LeBron didn't have Kyrie or Kevin Love. Still went 6 games. Stop. By the way, he wasn't MVP of that series. They looked at, we can't give this to Steph. All right, give it to the guy who guarded LeBron. Iguodala got it. And then he lost a 73-win season to LeBron, and then they added KD. Steph was no longer the best player on the team, and they won 2 championships. He's played in 5 finals, has yet to win a finals MVP. Come on, Damian Lillard, we see it with our eyes. He hasn't been on teams like Steph's been on, not even close. But Damian Lillard, from this era so far, is one of the most clutch performers, period. He might be the most clutch performer. Even last night was bananas. Not his fault guys were missing shots. No, in the playoffs when it matters most, Stephen A., you know what Steph did, win or go home? In overtime, the reason they're not still playing when they needed him to be at his best? 0 points, 0 assists, 0 rebounds in the last 3:30 of overtime. Warriors not playing anymore. Now compare that to what Damian Lillard just did, 55 in double overtime. Kept bringing them back from the dead. Under pressure in the playoffs, it's really not a knock against Steph, but under pressure in the playoffs, easily, Damian Lillard.
Not for me. We're analyzing it differently. No surprise there. But I will tell you this. Here's what I think you're missing. When you look, last night was a perfect example as to why I wouldn't pick Damian Lillard. And I believe that Damian Lillard is arguably, we're talking Michael Jordan status when it comes to clutch. This brother, you put the ball in his hands. Damian Lillard is something to behold. And next to Steph Curry, there's nobody that is his equal as a point guard in the NBA from a marksmanship standpoint. I get all of that. He's that elite. It's a close call. But here's why I pick Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God has ever created. Damian Lillard even concedes that, number one.
No doubt.
Number 2, Steph Curry's movement without the ball and what it creates for teammates, particularly those who can make shots, cannot go unnoticed. Last night was an example. Damian Lillard himself was spectacular, but everybody around him had contested shots. Everyone. Nobody is necessarily getting open because Damian Lillard will give it to you. He got the ball in his hands and he'll shoot, he'll take you down. But with Steph Curry, because of his movement without the basketball and how frightening he is due to his range, it not only forces defenses to extend, but it creates a level of paranoia because you literally have to watch, where is he? Hold on. I'll let you speak. Hold on. You got to have your head on a swivel, watch for everybody else. And then with Steph Curry, he scares you so much. You literally watched Memphis concede and the Lakers concede. The hell with everybody else. And literally put 3 and 4 guys on him in pivotal plays, daring anybody else to shoot just so he wouldn't. And those kind of things, that's when it comes to shooting, even when Steph doesn't shoot, because of the paranoia he creates, because of his movement without the basketball, why I would always pick him above anybody else when it comes to shooting.
I think those are excellent points. I'm not going back against those points. I agree with those points. Here's the problem, Stephen A. However you want to slice it, I saw a 73-win team with the fate of the universe on the line against the LeBron James team trying to be the greatest team ever, beat the Bulls 72-win seeds. You got to win the championship. They're at home. They have the greatest half-court offense in history. Steph is the conductor of that offense. They went the last 4 minutes and 22 seconds in the fourth quarter without scoring a point, and Steph was awful.
Hold it.
And they lost that. Hold on, that's 1. 2, I just mentioned the 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists. Stephen A., here's the bottom line. If Steph had Damian Lillard's clutch gene, we wouldn't be asking, is he the GOAT shooter? We know he is. Or among the GOAT point guards. If Steph had Lillard's clutch gene, he'd be in the GOAT conversation, period.
Hold on.
If he was performed under pressure like Damian Lillard, he'd be in the GOAT conversation.
But Damian Lillard is not in the GOAT conversation for whatever reason. So the point is, that's neither here nor there. The point is negated. At the end of the day, Damian Lillard, I'm not holding it against him, but Damian Lillard once got swept by Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday. I'm not holding that against him. You keep bringing up the 73-win season. You keep bringing up stuff about Clay from years ago. From Steph from years ago. Yeah, all of those things are to be acknowledged. There are things that we could acknowledge in the past about Damian Lillard too. It doesn't take away from their greatness. They're both phenomenal. They're both future first ballot Hall of Famers. Damian Lillard is on another level. Clutch-wise, we talk about Michael Jordan status, but even he would concede. I'm saying so. And the reason I have a hard time saying so is because that's my man. I love him to death, and I've spoken to him on many, many occasions over the years, many occasions. Molly, Max, this dude is dogged about his love for the city of Portland and his commitment to the Blazers organization. I want him with the Knicks. I mean, that would be a dream come true for me to have a clutch deal like that.
Of course.
Shut up with the Knicks talk.
Well, listen to me. I'm trying to educate you, brother. I told you I spoke to him. I'm just trying to give you information.
You're saying it's one of these read between the lines situations.
I'm trying to, no. I spoke to him, not yesterday, but I've spoken to him on many occasions. And I'm confessing to you, just like I brought up the Knicks to you, I brought up the Knicks to him. And he'd say, get the hell away from me with that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah,
so he feels like Max does. He said that on many, many occasions. But he is made of a different ilk, y'all. He's frustrated right now knowing him the way that I do. He has a right to be. He's not the kind of person that wants to go to L.A. and play with LeBron. He's not made of that ilk. He's not built that way. He's got 4 years and $196 million remaining on his contract. You got to trade the farm to get equitable compensation in return for him. So it seems to be a daunting task. Here's what I would tell you. In his perfect world, it's about somebody coming to Portland to join him, not about him going elsewhere to join them. And that's going to be a pretty hard sell for the Portland Trailblazers. And it's time somebody brought this up. I understand management. I look at Nurkic. I have no use for him. I know Jokic is no joke. But to abuse Nurkic like that and Nurkic to have no response is just pathetic, where Enes Kanter has to come in there and try something, okay? You look at C.J. McCollum. He ain't Damian Lillard, but he's pretty damn good at making good money. I've always stated to both of them, to their face, the combination of the two can't win because they're smaller guards and they can score on anybody, but defense is going to be a problem. You got to overcompensate. You look at Terry Stotts. When do we sit up there and say he's not the guy? Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to be a head coach in the NBA. What I'm saying is he's the kind of guy that knows his X's and O's. He knows what he's doing. But in terms of being a leader that can galvanize the troops and maximize the potential around you, I don't think Terry Stotts has ever shown that. And at some point in time, you've been there forever. I mean, my God, when do you make some kind of switch? Not just with personnel, but with coaching. Because clearly whatever you have ain't going to get it done. And they never do it. Yeah. And that's why Damian Lillard has expressed frustration. He's tired of going down like this, wasting a 55-point performance in Game 5 like they did. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't see it as Neil O'Shea. What you're just pointing out, I see it as Neil O'Shea, not Stotts in that case, Stephen A. Look, we know that Portland doesn't have quite enough. It's not a market that's going to attract high-priced free agents or where guys are going to demand to get traded to. So if you do find that Damian Lillard needs another superstar with him. He doesn't have that. But to give up the farm to get a superstar, they're going to let Portland know, I'm not staying in Portland, most likely. So what do? It's not enough. They may have to trade McCollum, although Anthony Simons, he's only 21, can jump out the gym, can shoot. They have some interesting pieces that maybe they could cobble something together and bring in a third guy along with Lillard and McCollum to kind of put them over the top or get them to the next level. The Knicks, Stephen A., I don't know why. If I'm the Trailblazers, the Knicks could offer me every asset they have, every player on the roster, and all their draft picks. Why would I trade that for Damian Lillard? Forget that. No, is it the end of Dame time in Portland? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think they're going to have to make a move to make the roster better along the lines of what I just said. Figure out either whether it's McCollum or maybe even, because you're right, they're small guards, or maybe even package other interesting pieces, draft picks they have together to bring in a third guy who's not Carmelo Anthony. Oh, look at that. He has more left than we thought. But a guy who's still an all-star caliber player. But Stephen A., even then, is that a championship roster? Damian, is it a championship roster?
Listen. Let's be clear. I answered the question to tell you what Damian Lillard told me as to what his thinking has been consistently throughout the years. His position has never changed. Last night was the first inkling of any kind of change in his persona. I know a whole bunch of people, I should say a whole bunch of people because he doesn't have a whole bunch of people in his inner circle because he don't roll like that. But the people in his inner circle I know well as well. And all of them feel he should leave. I feel he should leave. A guy like that does not belong in a small market. A guy like that needs to be on center stage with the eyes of the basketball world descending upon him because he's that kind of talent. He's that big time. But if you're going to sit up there and say, well, he ain't going anywhere, we going to keep him here, then don't you need to exhaust every means and measure to make sure he has what he needs? Yeah. Don't you need to alter your roster if you're Neil O'Shea? If you Stotts, Max, he's been there 9 years. They've gotten out of the first round 3 times. Again, I'm not saying the man can't coach. I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not saying he doesn't belong to be a head coach. Nate McMillan did a good job in Indiana, but he didn't get out of the first round. He lost his job. He ended up going to Atlanta and showing that he needed to be in a better market than Indiana or a better situation. Terry Stotts is not the guy that is going to get this particular Portland Trailblazers roster to any kind of promised land.
Let's be honest.
He's not
Real
that
quick,
guy.
Max, I just want to show everybody that IG post because we talked about it a little bit before. We didn't have it, and I'm told that we have it now. There you can see the Nipsey Hussle quote, the pic, the whole thing. Obviously, no accident that he's putting that out there after that loss.
Well, speaking of Nipsey Hussle, he's feeling himself because he's got the keys to the city. I mean, that's a. But
Max,
look,
Max, before you go, I just got a text from somebody. They will remain nameless, but they got, let's just say they have incredible credibility when it comes to basketball. And they mentioned to me Karl Anthony Towns. Maybe in Portland, and you make a move involving Nurkic, McCollum, or whomever,
and bringing
Karl Anthony Towns to join, and another person that they, I'm not saying Golden State should ever give him up, and he shouldn't consider leaving. But if Portland had a shot to get a Draymond Green and a Karl Anthony Towns,
now you're talking.
With Damian Lillard,
now you're talking.
You know what I mean? It's worth thinking about.
Still ain't going to win a championship, but now you're talking. Here's the problem. Neil O'Shea is an excellent GM. But he's not like one of the 3 best GMs in the league. I think Stotts is an excellent coach. I would also agree he's not one of the 3 best coaches in the league. Damian Lillard is a great player. He's not one of the 3 best players in the league or 6 best players in the league, or maybe he's top 10 in some years. And the problem is that entire franchise from Lillard to the GM to the coach is competent enough to be good every year. You're never going to have a crazy high draft pick. And not good enough, frankly, to win a championship. So absolutely. They have to make a big, bold move for a player at least as good as Dame if they want to win a championship and keep Lillard.
Right. By the way, are we having this conversation because Damian Lillard apparently is considering leaving? Or are we having this conversation because, once again, we're looking for help for LeBron James? Why are we having this conversation? I just want to know. I'm not saying the conversation shouldn't be had. I just want to know what is our intent. I think that's a legitimate question we need to revisit on this show.
Could get Damian Lillard?
No, I'm saying we need to consider, let's take a deep breath, and we need to consider before this show ends answering the question, are we having this conversation about Damian Lillard needing to leave Portland? Or are we having this conversation because, once again, yet another season has come up and we're thinking about the help that LeBron James needs?
We're not going to have LeBron slander on this show today. We get into that.
I'm not slandering.
We'll get into
I'm
that.
asking a question.
As far as Dame, taking his team to the playoffs last 8 seasons, in those playoffs, 22 30-point games.